Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Criterion Connection. I am Wade,
And I am Joe.
and we're here to start a new trilogy. We did the Three Colors trilogy last year. This year, we're going to do the Before trilogy, the Richard Linklater trilogy. So we're starting with Before Sunrise from 1995. Like I said, it's Richard Linklater. We did Richard Linklater before with Slacker, so this is a couple years after Slacker. So let's see how he's done. Um, I feel like Richard Linklater, his style is a lot of rambling discussions. I,
Um,
I feel like he has now used it to a more structured degree.
yeah, I think he challenges the idea that you kind of have to have big things happen in a movie. Like he's almost anti melodrama,
Yes.
and really and I think there's a line in this that really um it's a really great line for one, but it's also I think a good summary of kind of Richard Linklater's like personal movies, like when his personal like philosophy when making movies and creating stories, and it's by Ethan Hawke, his character on the train in the very beginning where he said, why a dog sitting in the sun is beautiful, and I think that really sums up how Richard Linklater thinks of personal stories. He's you don't need a lot of melodrama. It just the small things in life are beautiful too.
Yeah. And I think this movie is a good example for it. I did not know what I was getting into. I mean, obviously, I knew I was going to get into two people are in love. Obviously, they're on the cover of everything, so I'm like, oh, they're in love or whatever, or they're just really good police partners. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I was and you know me, I'm not really the biggest Linklater fan,
Yeah,
but
you super love Slacker.
yeah, I was like, this has no point to it. But this movie, um, yeah, I like this one actually a lot.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this either, and I'm a Richard Linklater fan. In fact, I really wasn't even aware of this movie until before Sunset came out
Yeah.
years later. Um, and then the talk of doing Before Midnight came, quite a few years after that. But but yeah, no, I really enjoyed this one too. I think what he does with Slacker um, has a bit of more like it has. He focuses it
Yeah.
and he's able to channel it through two characters, and he doesn't have all the unnecessary like different people walking in and out of your protagonist role. Even though I like Slacker for that, but I could see how you parse it down to two characters, and he's able to really explore, relationships and thoughts, feelings and beliefs, and he's able to really illustrate a connection between two people incredibly well. And I think also having Ethan Hawke and what is it, Delpy? Is it Julia
Yes.
Delpy?
Yes.
Um, as your two main actors, I think helps a lot as well. They are, at that point, they had probably done some stuff, but they're still young actors to pull off the younger roles. But they're incredibly charismatic. They have great chemistry with one another.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those like how they always talk about the camera loves them. Well, the camera really loves these two in this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, um, like that first scene with them at the train car. Like I like how it's like they're getting to know each other,
Mm-hmm.
but we as the audience are also getting to know them and know their quirks and all that and their
Yep.
views on life. And the dialogue starts very very like small conversation ideas. And then throughout the movie they get more deep and personal.
And not only that, they also it, it's that natural progression of, you know, these are the things I think somebody would like to hear, to now they're getting comfortable enough to say things that the other person might not want to hear,
Yeah.
which is
Uh,
what happens when they get to Vienna and get
yeah.
off the train.
What I like about like there's one scene that like there's like even though there's like dialogue, there's also scenes that work when there's like zero dialogue. Like
Yeah, I
when
got
they're
a couple in mind.
like the one where they're inside that vinyl listening room.
The listening booth, yeah, that was one I was going to highlight.
Yeah,
Where
they're just like you can
they
feel it.
yeah, they
You can
sit
feel the
there,
tension.
they listen to the song, and you just see them kind of steal glances from each other when the other's not looking, smile when they do realize the other person sees them,
Yeah.
and just kind of like you start to see like that's, the real spark of the relationship is just them spending time. And how often like does that come up where it's like, can you spend time alone not talking,
Yeah.
and as being a barometer of, you know how you feel you can, spend time with this person.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's not even like an overly like, um it's not one of those song choices that pounds you over the head with the message. I mean, it's subtle enough. It still has
Yeah.
that message where it's like they're gonna get closer together,
Yeah. They
but
didn't play Barry Manilow or anything like that.
it's nothing like super obvious. It was such a, and Richard Linklater was probably, that's probably one of the things that he could be known for, is picking, less than obvious music choices to fit a mood perfectly.
Yeah. And
But
there's
yeah,
also
the listening booth is definitely the one of those scenes I wanted to point out. Um, there's another one that happens before that, and I think it's brilliant. I don't know if it was her or the writing or the directing, if it was in the moment or not. But when they're getting off the train, Ethan Hawke hops right off and walks out of frame, and then she comes down the steps, and right before she gets off the train, she stops, looks, and takes a breath, and then walks off. And I think it's like a
yeah.
perfect moment in the movie where it's just like, is she really going to take the leap
Yeah.
and really like do this? And it's such a perfect moment.
Yes. Also, I like two things with Linklater does during dialogue scenes. Usually like a director will just direct like to just get someone talking and on the camera. It's their headshot.
Oh, you're
And
talking about the reverse shot, and he lets two
yeah,
people interact.
yeah. Usually you film the reaction after they
Hmm.
say the line, but he's filming that, especially on the train car when he's talking about the grandmother, and she later references that like that's what kind of sparked it for her with him, the connection. Um, you could tell that in that shot because you could see her face, like it looks like she's slowly uh admiring, slowly falling in love with him by just looking at him and as he tells the story. You just tell it in her face.
Yeah,
That's how
it,
great it is.
yeah, it's, in hearing like all the praise these movies get, like to watch it and see it,
Yeah.
I think is even more powerful.
Yeah. And
Because
also
it's, I mean, it's largely three people: Richard Linklater, Ethan Hawke and Julia Delpy, carrying this whole movie, and just the being able to not only have the right instincts at the right times, but to just pull it off perfectly.
Yeah, and then you have like he also filmed he with Slacker. He also films like with one of my sequences is he uses transportation as a way to have more conversation, and that's realistically what you would do. You're not gonna sit on a train car and be like, we're not gonna talk. But when they're on the street train
Mm-hmm.
and they're just doing this whole long shot dialogue while the train is moving and you see everything in the background, I think that's a really great shot.
But yeah, and that was one of the things I wanted to point out when you were talking about the train. I thought you were going down the idea of he doesn't do a ton of reverse shot dialogue. He likes to do a lot of two shots
Yeah,
where you can see them interact with each other,
yeah,
and that's really capturing that chemistry.
yeah,
Instead of somebody saying a line and then to the camera, it's a lot different when the actors are allowed to interact with each other.
yeah. It, it's just and then you get to and I like it's also really like almost perfectly paced. I think
Mm-hmm.
like the first act ends when it's not day. It's starting to become a little like it's evening. It's starting to sunsetting and stuff like that. And then they kiss. Spoiler: they kiss at some point in the movie. Um, like that's it. That's the end of the first act, and that's exactly 30 minutes in. So I'm like, that's so like the fact that they got it that to maybe not 30 minutes, but close to 30 minutes. That close. That's at the end of the act, and then the evening to the night, and then the early morning is the third act.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's really smart. Also, we can't forget to mention the two greatest actors in the movie.
Are you
There's
talking about the guys on the bridge?
the German actors. One of them is Wilmington's Cow.
Yeah. Big missed opportunity. I wanted to see that play.
But I do like how they're like, oh, we forgot to go to the play. I'm like, thank you. I forgot. I was wondering how the cow was doing.
Yeah, I wanted to see the play, man. I
Yeah, and
thought
then the
that was
third
messed
act.
up.
Yeah, and then the third act is very sad because you realize, oh, he's only here for like till like 9:30 in the morning.
Well, I don't know if you can consider it sad. I would say it's probably closer to bittersweet
That's what I meant. It's bittersweet.
because they have that discussion when they're doing the fake phone calls,
Yeah, that was
and he's
great.
like, "Are you going to see him again?" And she goes, "I never even thought about this." She's like, "We haven't talked about that one yet."
Yeah,
And then the conversation comes up later, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving." And they talk about potentially seeing each other, and it's such a where they agree that they're not going to chase each other across the world. Um, you know, it's you feel kind of sad because you're like, you guys should, there's obviously a spark there,
yeah,
but at the same time, like they're letting their reasonability like get in the way,
yeah,
and it makes sense because both of them just had those breakups where they went all in and it didn't work.
yeah,
And it makes sense on a character level, but the fact, where they go, well, we'll meet each other in like 6 months at this place. And you're like, okay, they're keeping the door open. They're just not there's still like another wall to get torn down.
yeah. And we know that before sunset is like it was made in the 2000s, so it's like they didn't meet in 6 months, I think.
Yeah, I we'll have to see the movie next week and find
Yeah,
out. I'm not I haven't brushed through all of these yet,
yeah.
and I don't know if I really wanted to like rush through them like the first week.
No, exactly. I'm not doing that either. That's why we're not having a buy, rent, or skip. Because frankly, I was telling last week, you're not gonna like, oh, I'm only gonna buy before sunset. You're gonna We're
Well,
gonna
who
buy one.
knows?
Yeah,
Who knows? You never know.
yeah,
But we'll talk about it at the end, and we'll see how we feel.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but perhaps the trilogy on Blu-ray's in my Amazon cart. But
Oh,
who knows?
yeah.
If I were to pick, I would think no. I think a whole lot of people should watch it.
Yes. This
A
is
whole lot more
one-
people than have actually seen it should watch it.
for a movie this for a movie that's this minimum. There's not like explosions. There's not much. I mean, there's a dilemma. They only have a day. It's the dilemma, but it's not like it's not like any other drama where there's like stakes.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
it's anti melodrama.
Yeah, and it's like it's really good for what they have for just having two characters, two major characters, just talking throughout the whole movie. It was very engaging.
Yeah,
I
I give it,
I
it's
I
it's a lot like My Dinner with Andre, where it's literally just two characters sitting there talking, and you just can't stop watching.
yeah, it's so good. I really like this movie a lot. I can't wait to see Sunset. So, but yeah, that's our thoughts on Before Sunrise. I'd ask for you to make suggestions. You can always comment about your favorite scenes in this specific movie. Do not post spoilers about Sunset at midnight, please. Please don't do that. Um,
Not
now
just for the fans, but for us.
I mean, you can post obvious fake spoilers, like the xenomorph bursted out of Ethan Hawke's chest while they're eating dinner.
Well, no, do you remember when Mechagodzilla shows up in Paris 6 months later?
Yeah, you can tell us that. But so next week we're doing Before Sunset. So until next time, I'm Wade.
And I'm still Joe.
And we will see you later.
We'll see you Link later.
Oh.